Hello, and it's Friday again. Hooray! Welcome to Moving Through Menopause, and I'm here with members of the Menopause Collective, Claire Ottewell, our natural medicine specialist, and Jackie Were, our hypnotherapist. Now, hypnotherapy, I wonder where that's going to come in handy. All will be revealed. Welcome, ladies. How are you today?
Yeah, all good, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, all good. We're all good. We say that, don't we? Whether we're good or not, we'll say we'll get to the bottom of this. Yes. So we're talking hair, skin, and nails, and Claire is really our expert when it comes to this, and we're just here to give moral support and to ask the questions that ordinary ladies, because that's what we are. Ordinary ladies would ask Claire. And so we're going to talk about hair on your head and in all those places that you'd really rather it didn't grow. Yes. Yeah. We're going to talk about skin and how can we have this glowing complexion as we move into middle life. That's always a challenge, isn't it? And what was the other thing? Oh, yes, nails. So I've never had long nails because of being a physiotherapist. We were never allowed to have long nails. You can't be digging your nails into somebody. And we could never use nail polish either because it can harbour infections. So bugs that cause infections. So I've never worn nail polish, well, only on Saturdays, you know. And I've always had short nails, but my nails are very healthy, probably because of that, actually. But dry nails, dry skin, drying out in the most inconvenient of places is definitely something that happens in menopause, isn't it, Claire?
It certainly is, which is almost ironic when you can be hot flushing and simultaneously dry.
Yeah, like the Gobi Desert. Oh dear.
Very, very strange that.
Yeah. So there's lots of challenges. Where to begin? I'll tell you what, we'll work our way from the top down, starting with the hair on the top of your head. And we were just conversing about the fact that thinning hair can be a challenge. And Claire told me that sometimes hair gets thicker. And I never thought that was a thing, but it turns out I feel like I've gone a bit like the Hair Bear Bunch since becoming middle-aged, whereas Jackie's headed a bit more down the other route of feeling like she could do with a few extra. Isn't that right, Jackie?
Absolutely. Yes, I'm going the thinning route.
So you know, hair care. I think it comes from within, does it not, Claire?
Well, it must do, mustn't it? Because everything comes from within. With regards hair, skin, it's what your body's actually making and the ingredients it's got to make the. It's genetic, but there's also things you can do to stimulate hair growth. If you are looking for thicker hair, then essential oil rosemary is certainly very good for stimulating hair growth. And what you'd be wanting to do there is giving yourself possibly a twice weekly scalp massage with it. So that means just putting a little bit, it's not greasy as an essential oil, tiny bit of carrier, and just massaging it into your hair roots twice a week just before bedtime. Lavender is also very good for hair growth, and certainly putting things like lavender oil into your eye creams to enhance your eyelashes and keep your eye health well is a really good tip and trick. So lavender and rosemary on hair for hair growth on the head. That's what you want. And yes, some of us are becoming more astute as we become older, and I'm certainly one of those, which is why I'm shaved all the way around here, because I have so much hair that if I left it, I would look like, well, I'm not even going to suggest what I would look like, but yes. And I know that thinning can make you feel quite like, I don't know, Jackie, fragile. It's like, you know, oh, I seem to be kind of, you know, thinning out and there's less of me, and that can be quite challenging.
Yeah, it can bring that feeling. Yes.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation, really. That you know, I somehow feel so reflected by what my hair does. Does that sound shallow and silly? I don't know,
No,
but
not at all. I have good
I,
hair days and bad hair days where I'm thinking
yeah.
I'm on it today. My hair looks great. I feel great. Or my hair's lanky, bit greasy. And I'm just thinking, I'm not feeling it. So I'm totally with you there on the hair mood.
Yeah, the hair mood. So how could we overcome those kinds of feelings? Because there's, you know, we are only human, and you know, we're always putting a brave face on it, aren't we? Well, I say always, not always. Sometimes we're genuinely having a good time, but sometimes, you know, you know, you kind of feel like you're having to bolster yourself up. And so, what sort of strategies can we use to really help us to deal with the effects, the psychological effects of these shifting physical changes that we really have little power over? I mean, I say that, you know, it's happening to us. There's lots of things we can do, but it's still happening is the thing. So what do you think, Jackie?
Yeah. Well, we're always our own worst critic, aren't we? And usually other people just don't notice the things that we're, in fact, what you're just saying there about long, lanky hair or good hairs, bad days, that sort of thing. We're usually the only person that notices these sort of things, and it's not other people that pick up on them. So we are always our own worst critic, and that's driven from that little inner voice that's sitting there just all day long, giving that little internal dialogue, which has the power to either leave us feeling good about ourselves, but in most times it's not giving us any positive feedback. So this is one of the things that I always work with my clients with, that inner voice, and helping them to learn to silence it, to realize that just because it's spouting some information, we don't actually have to listen to it. We can learn to throw the thoughts away. That those thoughts aren't actually even true. They are simply just thoughts. And they only become a truth when we actually decide to behave and act upon them. You know, so if we look in the mirror one day and we think, oh my goodness, what is going on? That's it. I'm not going out. I'm not going to go out tonight because I feel terrible. That's us then acting and believing and deciding that that thought was a truth, when it's only really coming from our own little inner critic. Nobody else is bothered. They're not looking at us, judging in the same way that we judge ourselves. So it's really important that we learn to notice this, that we can learn to listen to this little inner voice and decide whether it's a truth or whether it's something that we can actually just throw away. And we do that with so many thoughts, but yet some of our thoughts we actually hold on to and we keep them as if they're truths and we believe them, and it's just not the case. So yeah, learning to filter these things out through understanding your inner voice and learning to change that inner voice so that it becomes a lot kinder rather than just constantly being critical is key to how we then act that day, whether we go on with our day feeling good or whether we take on board everything that inner voice has had to say and let it drag our self-esteem down. So yeah.
I that's really great advice, I must say. And actually, Claire, coming back to the rosemary hair scalp massage, would you do that before you washed your hair, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I would be doing that just before I get into bed to go to sleep, because I'd be wanting to leave this on my hair overnight at my roots to kind of stimulate the hair follicles. So it's something that you should do. And, you know, if you land up getting your mixtures wrong and you land up looking slightly kind of, you know, greasy in the morning, then wash it out. But otherwise, you know, the longer you can leave it in there, the better. And I'm talking a very little amount, like, you know, a couple of drops that would be 6 drops of carrier to 2 drops of essential oil, or 1 drop to 6 drops if you've got very thin hair.
Right.
And you're
so you don't want to
thin
overdo it.
skin because it's going
Yeah.
to be really powerful. So just
rosemary is very stimulating, invigorating, isn't it? And the carrier oil, coconut, or what else could we use?
Fractionated coconut, so that it's not greasy and it's got everything stripped out of it, so the rosemary is not interrupted in the job that she's trying to do. If you mix in other things, then you get a different outcome because it's chemistry.
It's chemistry. I love chemistry. So, and and actually just the very business of massaging the tissues, stimulates the circulation to the scalp, doesn't it? And so the more we can nourish ourselves from within with the foods that we eat, maybe with some supplementation, and then invigorate, stimulate the circulation, and that's going to
help
encourage. Yeah.
What I was going to say as well is some people don't brush their hair. Now I know quite a few women that don't brush their hair and men that don't bother brushing their hair. They just use their fingers. And if you think about it, in the old days, as the old days are pictured, people sat there brushing their hair for 100 strokes before they went to bed to really stimulate their hair, but also to draw those oils down to the tip of the hair to stop them drying out. So there is something to be said for, if you can't do it with your fingers, put a little bit on your brush, get a good quality hairbrush, and then just brush it through over and over. It's going to be quite meditative, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't do it. Go the other way.
No, well, I hardly ever brush my hair, and I've got one of those very holy brushes. Well, I mean, I do that quite a lot.
Yeah. It's not really, you're not really caring for your hair then.
No. Yeah, well, I never thought of it being sort of distributing the oils to the tips of your hair. And I suppose, if you've got long hair, it's got further to go, Jackie. So, yeah. And actually, you need the brush to get all the way to the ends. But actually,
I probably don't brush mine that often either. But for the reason of trying to, I brush it in the morning, then to be honest, I don't bother looking. I try not to look in the mirror for the rest of the day, and then unless I've got a client, and then I don't brush it before bed or anything because I've gone to bed.
I do. I brush it before bed. I only brush it about 3 or 4 times a day, but I do brush it. Yeah.
Well, I think that is a really good tip actually, because it's pulling on the hair follicles, which is again stimulating the scalp and the circulation.
I'm trying to hold on to mine.
Yeah, but if you get a good brush, it won't kind of rip through your hair. The natural, the bristles.
Yes, I do use a natural.
With and if it's plastic, the blob bits on the end of it, so it doesn't scrap straight. But plastic combs aren't great and things like that. So just to be mindful. And I also will say at this time of year, I have noticed, maybe I'm just turning into an animal as I get older, but that I am seriously shedding hair at the moment off my head. And I think it's just nature's thinning out because we're going into spring. So not only is my blood cleansing, my hair is thinning itself out, and it does thicken in winter. And I've really noticed that.
Yeah. Well, there's seasonality in all these things, isn't there? If we notice, if we tune in and notice, and then we don't have to be quite so concerned that we're shedding the odd hair or two in the spring, because it'll come back in the winter.
That's it. Absolutely, it is cyclical. So in terms of vitamins to stimulate hair growth, because I'd say for me, vitamin supplementation has made an enormous difference to my menopausal hair, because in menopause, my hair just went completely lank, very dry, because I had the medical menopause, so it was overnight, and was hideous. So I cut it from down here to up here because I was just like, I couldn't bear it, and shaved half of it off. So when I started supplementing, and I recommend zinc, A and C, tend to get A from food. So if you're looking for good food sources for A, you're looking at broccoli, onions, garlic, and kale and leeks. But the other two, I take a copious amounts of vitamin C and zinc, and that's made a tremendous difference to my skin, hair, and nails. So that's something, because those are the ones that produce keratin, and that's what these things are made of. And so you want a good you want to give your body the right ingredients to create.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And we know we're talking about menopause in particular, the hormonal fluctuations the hormonal imbalances that can result in shifting in the collagen in the skin, that results in changes in the elasticity of the skin, changes in the the balance of the hormones can affect the hair. And we're moving a bit lower down now towards the tip of your chin and your
keep smiling.
So I mean, this is something I'm really struggling with, and unlike I say, like Claire, you said you've got fair hair, you know, and I've always had very fair hair on my face, but I've got to the point where I'm kind of not happy, shall we say, not happy with the volume of hair. And actually, do you know what? I went at the weekend to Boots and I had my eyebrows. Well, I'm going to do this. Actually, hang on. Which side is it? There we go. I've hardly got any eyebrows. These are all painted on, you know, with the pencil. Anyway, I went to Boots at the weekend and had it waxed, just because you still have to shape them, because you want them to be, you know, where they should be and not just all over your face. And she said to me, would you like me to do the chin and the top lip with the wax? And I said, you know what, don't bother, because you wouldn't know where to stop, you know, and this is the truth of it. All, you know, all over.
I can't see that, Phillipa.
I know. Yeah, but
maybe it's in the light. Does it show up in the light? Because apparently my tap goes up in certain lights, like especially like in the summer and stuff. It's much more obvious.
Well, you know, so we said this, didn't we? That I've acquired this machine. Well, I say acquired. Obviously, I bought it, and it's an epilator. So you can get those to epilate your leg hairs, can't you? And so I bought one of these, and it's basically a threading machine. It's got a piece of string that sort of twists around itself, and you sort of go like this over your face, and it pulls them out, and it's just so rewarding.
And painful.
It sounds painful.
No, because it's fuzz. It's not, you know, it's not quite a beard.
But doesn't it grow back thicker? Because this is my worry, is the fact that it's just going to darken and I'm going to land up with a beard that one day I can no longer look after.
It is somewhat concerning on that front, I have to confess. But I did a podcast with a beauty therapist who reassured me that doesn't happen, that's a fallacy. I still have this thing inside of me that finds it slightly difficult to believe.
One of my girls,
No,
I was going to say, one of my girls, she gets the dermaplaning done, where they take off the fuzz, and it works lovely. Doesn't grow back thicker.
No, it doesn't, because some people have a reaction to it. There was an article I was reading yesterday about someone having dermaplaning done, and they got a hell of a lot more hair on their face. So I think it would be down to who.
Maybe it's individual.
Everything.
Well, we've got it on good authority from our LinkedIn user. I know there's something you can do so that we can see your name, and I've forgotten what it is because I'm menopausal. And she says, no, it does not. So
no, it works absolutely lovely for my daughter. Yeah, really nice. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm back to the threading. I was a bit worried about dermaplaning. And so when I'm, you know, if I'm going somewhere that I really don't want to cast a shadow like a yeti or a werewolf, then I will use the machine on. And I don't. It doesn't hurt me. I quite like it, but I think you do have to be careful not to catch, you know, like actual skin in it. You know, it comes with a safety warning. Anyway, so the hair, that is about the balance of the hormones shifting, and I would really rather it didn't grow, to be perfectly frank. So I want to nourish the hair on the head, but not to necessarily.
Well,
anyway. But the other thing, of course, is coming to skin, you know, the skin. And the one thing that I'm struggling with, and I don't know about you, is the age spots, do we call them? you know, certainly on the back of my hand, but also on my face, which is really making me quite unhappy. Is there anything, what do we do about this? Any ideas? Ooh. Go on, Claire, I've got some of that.
Frankincense essential oil is the best for aging skin and fresh cellular regrowth and getting rid of blemishes. I've lined up all the oils here, which are particularly good for aged skin or aging and age debt. Well, you know, some of our listeners are going to be, you know, through menopause, perhaps on the other side, and, you know, still looking for solutions. And skin, when you get to this age, in our final third of our life, is very different to how it was in the earlier two. So sandalwood, spikenard, helichrysum, myrrh, red frankincense, patchouli, geranium, wild orange. And I nearly included one I'm making up for a remedy for somebody else, which is citronella.
It's not that.
It's not that. And what I recommend, like I make creams for people, and that's the best way to apply them. And these creams have things like shea butter in them, unrefined shea butter. So you've got all the amino acids and all the protection with fresh cocoa butter. So that extra virgin cocoa butter, extra virgin oil, fractionated coconut oil, and mix all these things together with the essential oils. And by having all these fantastic, and olive oil, fantastic ingredients on the skin, which don't block your pores in any way. And that, I can't stress that enough, because a lot of the products you can buy, cosmetics on the market, will block your pores to some degree. They'll say that they're withholding moisture, and then actually just stop skin breathing. And actually your skin needs to be completely porous. But at the same time, you want a barrier against the toxins and the weather and the damage to the sun, etc. So these natural products feed the skin, improve elasticity, get rid of markings, etc. As you say, age spots. Some people still have the pregnancy mask, which that only arrives in summertime. That's when that becomes more prevalent. They can really see it. So those are the essential oils that I would recommend, and I would be looking for products with those in them, or just come see me and I'll make you one. But good quality creams are where it's at. And when you've got a good quality cream, you won't get dry patches and you won't get combination skin anymore. You'll just have a nice even kind of, which I hope I've got, an even glowy, not hairy look. No, it also helps, I think, with the hair, because some of these oils are going to not stimulate that as well. And essential oils, as we know, are all about, you know, they're not just about smelling gorgeous. They're kind of a completely holistic experience. So they're treating you at the same time. So they're helping balance your hormones. So the geranium, like that, they're really going to bring your hormones into balance, which is what you want. So it's like another way of, kind of a natural way of bringing yourself into harmony.
I like that, because you know, you mentioned quite a few there, and I know that some of those will be better for some people than others. And we've talked about this before, the fact that if there's an aroma that you're drawn towards, then that's probably a good one for you. So if you get the opportunity to come go around to Claire's and play the sniffly oil game, I play that at my house, and oh, I love it. I can't help myself. So geranium speaks to me. Frankincense, I'm not sure of the smell of that so much.
But you've got to think about what it's doing for you. The fact that you want to get rid of these marks of your skin, and you want like fresh cellular growth. You want to promote that.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm going to put it in then in that case.
So put some frankincense in, absolutely.
Yeah. And just this taking care of ourselves, it's so important, isn't it, Jackie? To really you know, I'm reading at the moment a book. Well, it's an audio book, so I'm listening to it, called Atomic Habits. And the Atomic Habits, maybe it's a book you're familiar with, but some really interesting ideas. I'm only in chapter 1 still, but already there's something that really resonates with me, and that is we're talking about changing our not just our habits and the things that we do, but in the way that we are, or who we are, in fact. So the more we can identify with the outcome, if you like. So I don't know. I think we've got somebody who's not. Is there anybody there? Anyway, so the more you can identify with the values, if you like. So say for instance, eating carrots. It's not a value, is it? But healthy is the value that goes with that. And so what would a healthy person do is something that they're talking about. What would a confident person do in this situation? What would I don't know, I can't think of any more. But you know, what would somebody do who really cared for themselves? What would they do? You know, because we're not always very good at doing it for ourselves. But if we think about those situations, what would somebody do? What would we do for somebody else? You know, quite often it's that, isn't it? What would we do if it wasn't for us, if it was for somebody else? And so this nurturing of ourselves with self-care, whether it's just a really lovely scented moisturizer, whether it's a scalp massage at bedtime, and the other thing that I think is really great for skin is skin brushing. Yeah, Claire's nodding. So to identify as a person who does all these things for themselves only because they really care for themselves. Yes, Jackie, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. All of these tiny little habits that we adopt, that we talk about self-care, well, really what they're also doing is nourishing our self-worth and our self-belief in ourselves. That's us saying, I'm worth enough to look after, that I value myself. So rather than a lot of us can be guilty of, you know, forgetting to do these things, but they are really important for our own well-being, just in terms of mentally, that we are allowing ourselves time to look after ourselves. Because unless we are feeling mentally tip-top, then we're not really in that place to also be being tip-top for other people, you know, if we're a little drained. So no, they're important practices just to take on board, definitely.
Yeah. So skin brushing, we were just talking about, and I could get excited at the thought of this. I have a really sort of, you know, the proper skin brush, and I brush myself before I get in the shower. Try and do it every day if I can. It's so invigorating and stimulating for the skin, stimulating the lymphatic flow, generating you get a bit sort of pink, don't you? So you know you're bringing the blood flow so that to the surface of the skin, and removing the toxins, I'm guessing, Claire, too.
And dead skin cells.
Skin cells.
You're moving things through. And also I find, because I do it every single morning, that when I do it under here, that it really lifts. Because sometimes in the morning I can be a bit blocked, just a little bit mucusy, and that just lifts it, gets rid of it.
Well, Claire,
awakening.
Do you have a special brush for your face then? Because I've only got one very stiff body brush. Oh, a softer brush for the face. Good idea.
Now I've got one of those stones. And I can't pronounce them.
Claire's got one.
And you go like that. Yeah. And that really clears these passages. Yeah.
Because it's working with crystals. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So it's jade. Yes.
Yeah, the jade. That's definitely something in Chinese medicine. The jade tools are something that they would advocate. And I say this, lots of people at the moment are struggling with sinuses, and I know we're deviating very slightly, but you would never kind of think that you could massage your sinuses. But actually, as you say, massage, whether it's with your fingers, it could be with your fingers, it could be with a tool made of jade, or even just the brush, the facial brush. It is a lighter bristle, isn't it, for sure, to brush. And I never knew I had sinuses when I was young, but now it seems like it's something that happens to us, another thing to look forward to. And so make sure that you're using oils, Claire, for keeping the passageways clear, is the other thing, isn't it? And then release type techniques, and you can do, and there's sinuses up here in the forehead as well. They're the ones that give us the headache, aren't they? Yeah. Oh, and the jawline. Oh, okay. Yeah. We could do a bit of that. Oh well. So yeah, you know, skin is all over us. I'm stating the obvious. It is a barrier, and it needs to be healthy. And so this idea that prevention is better than cure. You know, I've seen people with phlebitis, inflammation of the skin, cellulitis, which then, you know, requires intervention with antibiotics, which we don't really want if we can avoid it. And a lot of these things could be ameliorated by some regular exfoliation and moisturization of the skin. And I remember somebody said to me once, they've sort of lost the will when by the time they get to the feet, they can't be bothered to moisturize the feet. And you know, I know, and so don't forget your feet. Feet are so important, aren't they? I was the foot physio for quite a long time. I probably mentioned this before, so I can teach you a whole host of exercises to keep your foot muscles working. And the skin care is equally important. You know, something, what do you call them? A corn on the sole of your foot can be so painful that it changes the way that you walk, and you end up getting a bad back. So really important to manage the skin, the hard skin we're therefore talking about, aren't we? That buildup of hard skin on the soles of your feet on a regular basis. I don't know if it's just me, but I think I might be related to a rhinoceros very slightly, because the skin on my feet, oh dear, it's ridiculous. Yeah, so regular dealing with the build-up regularly, then it doesn't you know, get too much. And moisturizing afterwards is really important. What do we put on our feet, Claire? Extra lube or what?
I make a lighter body cream for the feet. So again, with all the same oils, well, not all the same oils. I put different oils, some different oils on my face, and I do the rest of my body. But yeah, so body brush, I shower, body brush, and then I apply all my creams, and I moisturize my feet every single day.
These are great habits, aren't they? Actually, it talks about doing a habit inventory and then rating them, whether your habits, if you go through your day and take an inventory of all the different habits, like wake up, turn off the alarm, go to the bathroom, what did you just say? Shower, body brush, moisturize. You know, if we take an inventory of all these habits, and then to put a plus by the habits that add value, a minus to the habits that maybe are not the best. That could be like a donut habit, say, or
chocolate
other
bar.
kinds of habits. Well, maybe the chocolate bar habit, or alcohol, well, you know, whatever.
Cups of tea, caffeine.
Coffee, caffeine, yeah, the caffeine habits. And then neutral habits that, you know, it doesn't really make any difference one way or the other, that you put an equal sign. And then I guess you go through your day and you tally up all the habits that are adding value and getting you on that journey to being a self-caring for yourself, healthy wizard. Yeah.
A self-care wizard. Self-care guru.
There you go. And you know, I think little things like this can really help us to just notice, because that's what you said, Jackie. Let's just be aware of our propensities for you know, thoughts, actions, deeds, and as much as we can live this experience of wholesome, happy, healthy, you know, lives as much as we possibly can, because, you know, like you said, we give to others so much more when we give to ourselves. So I don't know if there's anything we missed, Claire. No.
I think
We've gone from head to toe.
Oh, all I would say is that your skin is, other than a natural defense, is the reflection of your internal health. So if you are glowing, then you're glowing on the inside. If you've got dry patches, eczema, psoriasis, and there's something going on that needs further investigation. So use your skin as a map of your health, really.
Yeah. I think that is true, isn't it? And I can speak to that because I don't know if you can see. Hang on. Oh, that patch on my hand.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I get these patches on my hands, and it's only on my hands, and it comes when I'm stressed.
Yeah.
And I got one last week, and it takes ages to go away. So
I've got cream for that.
We'll talk about that afterwards. So yeah, definitely heed these signs and signals. Listen to what your body's trying to tell you, because you know, I do say that commonly, that people, if only we can just, tune in and hear the voices from within, there is often something in that. Your body will know instinctively what is good for you. The foods that we crave, sometimes there's a reason for that, isn't there? And
Always.
yeah, always. Good. Okay. Well, thank you so much, ladies. We could talk all day. I know we could, but we better call a halt to proceedings at this point. And thank you so much for your time. It's lovely to see you. And let's carry on having a healthful rest of our day. Take care. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Claire.